Okay, so recently I talked about Canada Post going on strike again, and we support striking workers around here. When workers say they want more money from a company, the answer is yes. Okay, so initially, when I had heard of the last strike, there was a strike last year, I just had assumed that the workers got what they wanted, but no, actually they were pushed back into work without actually, getting what they needed, what they wanted. Ba, ba, ba. And just recently, talking about hit record, right? Yes. Just recently, after I recorded my last segment, there's an article that came out that was Canada Post declines union's 2-week extension offer. Wait, no, I need to go back into VRChat. God, my elbows. Why? Okay. Shit. Here we go. God, this is so hard to work with. Anyways, CTV News put out this article 21st. I'm not going to read through the entire article, but it's basically that Canada Post doesn't want to keep talking with the union. They just want them to go back to work. And a big thing that they talk about is how, or at least I don't know if it's in this article specifically, but there's something that's regularly brought up. It's how it's like unsustainable as a business to run a post office. And it's like, no shit. A postal office shouldn't be seen as a business. Oh, yeah, we'll get to that one. But a postal service is a service. We kind of rely on that for a lot of stuff. And it's I I thought the whole point of nationalizing the postal service was to not run it as business, to get rid of the profit motive. Because what happens when a nationalized service industry starts to go bankrupt that we rely on? The government gives them some more money. They just inject funds. They do it a lot. But this, I think it's the Crown Corporation or something, Canada Post, is trying to cut back as much as they fucking can on already previously established things. And in their 2024 strike, in their last strike, they were pushed back to work in an attempt to keep services running because they did most definitely not get what they were asked. The workers did not get what they were asking for. They got forced back into work, and seriously, they got forced back into work. They didn't get their raises. They didn't get any of that, and they were just promised more time to negotiate while not disrupting service. So this time, what they're doing is the union, the Canadian Union of Postal Workers, has called for an overtime ban as company and workers fail to reach their agreement, not ingredients. Essentially, what this means is during the 9 to 5 regular workday shift, Monday to Friday, postal services are still going through. To my knowledge, anyways. But the workers are not going to be working more than 8 hours in one day or 40 hours in a week. So they do their 5 days, 9 to 5, nothing more. Even if there's parcels left over. I'm personally okay with that. Frankly, I would have been okay with disrupting the postal service completely to get what they want. But goddamn, do I not trust the liberals to just inject their power. Now, here's an article that's a lot of fear mongering, that's trying to sway the public, at least in my opinion, away from the striking or support of the striking workers. The title of the article is Ongoing Strike Threat Could Push More Customers Away from a Struggling Canada Post. Well, yeah, if there's going to be a strike, if you're aware of a strike coming up, you're not really going to want to rely on the service given the strike. However, I don't think that should be seen as a bad point towards the strikers, because that's what a strike is supposed to do. It's supposed to disrupt. And it also just leads back into my problem that they're looking at Canada Post as a business, not a service. Yeah, struggling Canada Post. It's not profitable, but it's the postal service that I thought our tax dollars went to. Like, do people not see the problem here? I know the corporations don't see the problem here. They see the problem is that the drones are not working. They need to work again, and they don't deserve more money. They hate the workers. Because if they actually cared about their workers, they would be, giving them what they need. Anyways, I did have to stumble upon this. Thank you, Steve Boots, for actually finding it. But these are what I was able to find for what the Crown Corporation is trying to change the current terms and conditions of employment, basically the union contract. And what they're trying to do is pay for the employees' actual time worked. Rate of pay will be the same as the day before the implementation of the new terms and conditions, which means no raises. Cancel additional allowances. I don't know what that really means, but I would assume it would be something like gas allowance for the trucks, because I'm willing to bet at the post office they don't have gas stations there to fill it up. They have to go to a gas station. So it makes sense that the driver would just fill it up, though I don't think they should fill it up out of their own pocket. That should be a company thing. But I don't know if that's the actual allowances. Anyways, overtime. In exceptional circumstances where overtime is required, paying overtime at the rate of 1.5 times the regular hourly rate. That is what should be standard, in my opinion. But it's also not what I really have the issue with. Vacation and other leave. Here's where I start getting super red flags. They want to cancel all vacation leave. Employees who obtain approval to remain off would be on leave without pay. No more vacation time. No, people need their vacations. I speak with experience as someone who has not taken a vacation in literal years. They require management approval for all new or pre-approved requests for leave not required under the Canada Labour Code. If approved, non-legislated leave would be without pay. They don't want to pay their employees. They want to make all union pay or all union leave unpaid. So local joint health and safety committee activities would continue to be paid as required. Okay, at least the health and safety people are still being paid to do their thing. The pensions. Consider any period of time employees are not working during a labor disruption as non-pensionable times. They're going after the pensions with this one. They're really trying to force them back into not striking to, because they just want I think it was a 19% raise. There's also 2 pages. So the benefits would be the discontinuation of benefits, including their health care plan, including prescription drug coverage, the dental care, vision and hearing, disability insurance claims with date of disability on or after the effective date of these terms and conditions, and adoption and maternity allowance. Like, these people don't even want you to have families. Like, the whole point of maternity leave, maternity pay, even for cases of adoption, is to help new families have the time to get together, get their ducks in a row, so that they know what they're doing. That's like the whole fucking point of it. And like it sounds like they're just wanting to cut all benefits, which is fucked up. Personally, I think every single benefit should be human right. Your health care, your dental care should be part of your health care. Mental health should be part of your health care. Vision and hearing should be part of health care. Disability insurance claims, those should still go through. We need to actually help disabled people or people with disabilities. Stop paying not stop, STDP, short-term disability program. I'm not actually sure what this is. Stop paying STDP claims with date of disability prior to the implementation of new terms and conditions. Okay, so you have to wait, not accept claims with the after. Oh, so they're just cutting the disability program. That's what they want to do. They just want to cut any sort of benefit to their employees living with disabilities. That's fucking great. Have all new pending and approved injury on duty claims paid directly by the applicable workers' compensation boards in accordance with their respective legislation. Well, at least if you get hit by a fucking car on the job, you'll still get paid for that. Union dues, not collect union dues and union insurance deductions. Goddamn knows. It's bugging the shit out of me. It's probably bugging you guys too. Cease all union fund payments. Yeah, they just want to weaken the union with this. That's literally what they're trying to do. At least that's what. Pardon? Yeah, I hate this push for privatization, especially over like services we rely on. Especially when they're claiming that, oh, it's not sustainable as a business. We need to increase profits, we need to increase revenue, that kind of shit. But we've just been looking at we've been looking more towards the corporation side of things. What about the union? What does the union have to offer? Well, for starters, they've got their hands off my post office campaign. Basically, they are mad that essentially Canada Post is trying to privatize so that private companies would own it and control it rather than the Canadian federal government. Glad Nessie brought that up because it sounds similar to what the Trump admin wants to do with the UPU. Yeah. But like these people the corporation is pushing their drastic cuts and they list those cuts as closing post offices, ending door-to-door delivery. Like, that's pretty fucking huge. Nobody is going to want to go out of their way to go pick up their mail. They will go to another service. And it would probably be privatized. If we have the service, just pay them, Canada. Fuck. Expanding community mailboxes. Oh, okay. So instead of having to go to a post office, it would just be like a bigger postal box in an area. That's not sketchy as fuck at all. Outsourcing to franchises, so like, they don't want to do the delivery themselves. They want to make Amazon do it because that's going to save money. And even privatization. I do not want services to be privatized. It is pretty straightforward. But there's a lot more reading that can be done regarding this hands off my post office campaign. What was their website? Was it just hands off my post office? Go to cupw.ca and you'll find it within the campaigns and issues. I will also link it. But that's also not it. What is their actual plan? A little website called deliveringcommunitypower.ca is that plan. They have plans for new services and communities, financial inclusion for everyone, plans to fight climate change. That should be a huge thing for people, and green jobs for the future, which also kind of ties into fighting climate change. But let's look into it a little bit. Give me 1 second. Mute. Unmute. Okay, there. I just had to make sure my mic was unmuted. Because I went to blow my nose, and it's now a pain in the ass to blow my nose. Okay, what are these services they're wanting to do? Postal banking. So instead of having to rely on big banks, especially out in rural areas where they don't have a lot of banks, being able to do your banking at the post office, that would help so many people's lives. And they would get money for them. Elder check-ins. That is a huge thing that could literally save lives. Just have the postman say, "Hey, check in on things. Check in on grandma." The goddamn post office as a high-speed internet provider. Like, I believe they say it in here, but these guys want the internet to be a human right, which I agree with. The internet is the collective knowledge of mankind. How is it not a human right to have access to it? Because people prefer to look at titties and cat pictures? That's not an argument. People should be able to have access to the internet. Even out in fucking I don't know, Yorkton, Saskatchewan. Real words, real place. Anybody? Yeah, there's Newfoundland. Anybody else think it might be a good idea to have affordable food delivery? Like, some people can't make it to a food bank. And, well, we all need to eat. Post office or postal workers, they drive around to every house in the area. They could drop off some groceries for you. Probably shouldn't be like produce, but non-perishables, that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it would be like tying all of this into the post office. They want electric vehicle charging stations at their post offices. Think about that. An actual place to charge electric vehicles in like every town or almost every town across the country. I don't know why the corporations are pushing back against this. Actually, I do know. Because they want their money. They don't want to fund this. They don't care about making people's lives better. They don't care about making the the postal service or postal office a community hub to host things like flea markets, book clubs. Pardon? Yeah, they absolutely want to keep people on fossil fuels, even though that's a finite resource. Shout outs to the post office, 100%. But yeah, the postal office could be something amazing. And how are they planning on fighting climate change? Personally, I think we should be calling it the climate crisis, because at this point we can't stop it. We can only prepare for the worst. Canada Post wants to have a fleet of union-made electric vehicles, creating creating green jobs in Canada and using far less resources. They also want to put solar panels on the top of the buildings of Canada Post buildings. That would be pretty big too, putting solar panels on more buildings. Expand the use of Canada Post as consolidated last mile delivery to ease congestion and pollution in our cities caused by, in part, by too many delivery trucks that aren't full to capacity. That makes sense. Yeah. Because it's honestly a huge waste of gas, and it puts all that gas into the atmosphere. When you've got it puts all that more gas into the atmosphere when you're sending out trucks multiple times, half full. You could do one trip full, put out less gas. Did you know that Canada Post operates the largest vehicle fleet in the country? That's a huge footprint and huge opportunity. And yeah, Canada Post could be leading things in such a wonderful direction if they are just given the funds to do it. Canada could be a leader on the world stage in renewable energy. Is it going to be perfect? God, no. Is it going to be better than what we have now? Down the road. It's getting there. It's absolutely getting there. Support your local unions. Go support the CUPW. As far as I'm aware, the strike still continues. Hopefully, we don't have the government stepping in and forcing them back to work. That is right now my biggest concern. Like, they want to be paid more, yes, but they also have plans to make things so much better for Canadians. Like, honestly, it's not going to impact me a ton. Like, I already have my internet. I can go to the grocery store myself. But there are hundreds of thousands, I'm betting, maybe millions. I don't know. But there's a ton of people in Canada who would absolutely benefit from this service if these proposed or planned changes take place. And then make their lives better, make them use and rely on the postal service more. Isn't that what the Crown Corporation wants? Or do they just want the money? Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe for more. And leave a hate comment if you didn't like any of it. I don't really care if you do. It all helps the algorithm. As usual, huge thank you to all my beeps who have their channel membership. I consider every single person in my community to be one of my beeps. These people just paid money to have their name on screen. And remember, if you can't be the sharpest tool in the shed, you can always be the hoe.